Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Political Ray, where we've got some stories for you. Not breaking, a little old, but we'll get into it. SCOTUS of Wisconsin, the Supreme Court in Wisconsin, has suspended Judge Dugan over her arrest with the FBI, and we'll get into that. Jamie Raskin was holding a little rally, get together. Jack Posobiec gets attacked for simply asking a question by the union workers that were there. Um, it's a little wild. In Michigan, Trump holds a rally, goes to a National Air Guard base, and Gretchen Whitmer was there. People are saying that she was caught off guard. I think both sides are spinning the story a different way than what it actually is. I'll give my opinion on that. And Amazon and Temu are making headlines as the tariffs, I guess the tariff war with China is still kicking off. So we'll get into that as well. This might be a little bit shorter of a Wednesday morning, as it were. But I appreciate you being here. You can follow me here on Rumble. You can also follow me on X at The Political Ray. You can also subscribe on YouTube if you would like to. I would just come over to Rumble. YouTube takes a lot of stuff down. They don't like what people have to say. They're not free speech advocates, what have you. They censor a lot of things. Just go over to Rumble. I'm here live every morning, 7:30 Eastern, just ahead of the Rumble lineup, so that y'all can still enjoy that. But anyway, today is my birthday. So, for my birthday, all I want is for everybody out there watching this to just follow, share it with your friends, everywhere, everyone you know. Just go ahead and do that for me. That's all I want. That would make my day infinitely better. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and get into this. Now, this first story I wanted to touch on, I've covered this previously. This is the Judge Dugan, who was arrested by the FBI for harboring, keeping ICE from detaining an illegal member, an illegal alien who was in her courtroom for domestic violence, who then she proceeded to walk out the jury's door and then out the back door of the courthouse to keep him from being detained by ICE. This is illegal. It is a crime. She was arrested by the FBI. Now, that said illegal was caught later on, thankfully. And hopefully he gets deported too, because we don't want these kinds of people within the United States. I've made the case before. Anyway, we'll get into this. This is from the Post Millennial. And I think good on him. So, look, breaking: Wisconsin Supreme Court temporarily suspends Judge Hannah Dugan after FBI arrest. Good. I'm all for it. I think she should go to jail. Not for a long time, but she knows she's a judge. She knows what she did was against the law. She should have to face the consequences for her actions. Every adult should. Just saying. Anyway, we get into this. The Wisconsin Supreme Court temporarily suspended Judge Hannah Dugan after she was arrested last week for facilitating the escape of an illegal immigrant from her courtroom. Again, he was in her courtroom for domestic violence, putting two people in the hospital. Why she decided to do this is just beyond me. She's okay with this kind of person having free reign inside the United States, being free to commit further crimes. This is what the left is. This is what they want. Anyway, the man was facing an April 18th pretrial hearing in her courtroom on domestic violence charges. When Dugan learned that ICE was planning to arrest the defendant, Ruiz, after his court appearance, she directed him and his defense attorney to leave the courtroom during the proceeding. Through a side door, the pair went into an elevator, where followed by an officer, and then the man led officers on a foot chase before he was detained. Dugan was hit with 2 federal charges after she was arrested by the FBI. The Supreme Court of the state determined that beginning April 29th, yesterday, Dugan is not permitted to continue serving as a Milwaukee County judge. Good. Until further order of the court, Dugan appeared in federal court on April 25th. Protests ensued after her arrest, and one judge refused to hold court. I covered that one yesterday. It's insane to me. But this is the world this is the United States that we're living in nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, it is ordered in the exercise of that constitutional authority and in order to uphold the public confidence in the court of this state during the pendency of the criminal proceeding against Judge Dugan, we conclude in our own motion that it is in the public's interest that she be temporarily relieved of her official duty. Fantastic. Good to hear it. I'm all for this. Dugan is charged with a felony and a misdemeanor, and if convicted, could face up to 6 years in prison. Again, I will say I don't think that she should probably serve that long. Maybe give her a year, 6 months. I don't know. Slap her with a good amount of a fine. Let her go on her way. She knows what she did was wrong. She should have to serve the time. That's, people do things that are against the law all the time, and they know that they're not right in doing it. So they should have to face the consequences. Now, if she gets up to 6 years, I really seriously doubt that she will. A lot of these cases don't end up being maximum sentences. Maybe it will be just because maybe they want to set an example. But again, I will say I don't know. You can say I kind of flip-flop on this, and I can say I probably do, but just in this certain circumstance, I don't think that she should have to serve a full 6 years. Give her a year. Slap a fine on her. Let her know that she's not going to be able to hold. I very seriously doubt that she's going to be a judge anymore after this. Like that's just out of her stars at this point. Anyway, let's see. Ruiz is in federal custody, so that's good. I mean, like I said, give her a fine. Let her serve a light sentence, maybe a year, and then go on about your day. Anyway, we'll go ahead and move on to Jack Posobiec was assaulted by union workers. Now, Jamie Raskin was holding a little get-together. I wouldn't call it a rally. It was just a get-together. He's he's out there. He's doing everything he can to knock down Trump a peg or what have you. He's just not for it's the Democrats in general that they won't give Trump a win no matter what happens, with the exception of maybe at this point, I think because Whitmer, we'll get to that story in a little bit, but the left cannot, they just can't let him have a win. That's all there is to it. But anyway, I digress. So Jamie Raskin was holding this little get together. Jack Posobiec shows up, just asks a simple question. That's all it was. Just saying, hey, how come you guys lost? Talking about the election. He says, how come you guys lost every single swing vote, or swing state rather? And how come you couldn't, take the popular vote? It's just a question, a couple questions. That's it. They're questions. This crowd could not handle the fact that he was just asking a question, and they pounced on him. Check this out. This is insane to me. Here's a little video. Now, I don't think that he was seriously hurt. I haven't seen anything that he was. I mean, there was nothing like a hospitalization or anything like that. Gosh, if I could speak correctly. Anyway, so I don't think it was serious, but it's the simple fact of the matter that these people, and this is the left in general. Everybody touts, oh, the left is they're nice people and they reach across the aisle and blah blah blah, and they don't resort to violence. Well, we've seen it time and time and time again. These people don't know anything except how to resort to violence when things aren't going their way, or they're losing an argument, or they just, it's either violence or they just scream louder than you are. That's it. That's all they can do. When they start losing an argument, they hear something that they don't like, they either just scream at you and don't let you talk, or they resort to violence, which happens in more cases than they would like to admit. That's all there is to it. But check out this clip. I'm just rambling on here about this, but anyway, check this. This is the clip, and like I said, it doesn't look too serious. He lost his phone, they kicked it around, what have you, but it doesn't look that bad. But just the simple fact that they resort to violence instead of just answering his question is just wild. It shouldn't surprise me that this stuff still happens, but anyway, take a look.
The right to organize unions.
Yeah!
For redress agreements, we're going to defend the right to assemble.
Yeah!
We know with Dr. King that the greatness of America is the right to protest for what is right. Against lawbreakers who take office. And that's where we are today. I'll leave you with my friends with the words of the great Marylander Frederick Douglass.
Jamie, why did you lose the popular vote? Why did you lose every single swing state? Why did you lose?
Now they start chanting USA. I don't understand that. That's Trump's thing. That's what the MAGA followers do. They start chanting USA. You got me. I don't know. But this is they start chanting USA, USA, and then they don't like the guy, so I don't know if it looks like he just gets pushed. But it's still violence. It's still assault. So
Why? Let me talk. Let me talk. It's not fake. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. They're assaulting me, you motherfucker. Why'd you leave?
right there, that's assault.
Can I get my phone? No. Back up.
Loses his phone. Pretty sure he gets kicked again. But... yeah, there he goes. Hopefully he got it back. Doesn't seem damaged. I hope it's not damaged anyway. Phones aren't cheap, but anyway, I mean, why? Why not let the guy ask a question? Why not let Jamie Raskin answer the question? Why? I think it's a valid question. He's asking for Jamie's opinion on why they lost every single swing state regarding to the presidential election and why they couldn't hold the popular vote. Because everybody remembers, I mean, that was a big thing when Hillary lost against President Trump, that he didn't win the popular vote. And that was their talking point for a very long time. The fact that he didn't carry the popular vote, he carried the electoral, but not the popular vote. This is something that they talked about for months. I think well into the first year of his first term, that he didn't win the popular vote and he was an illegitimate president. But again, like I said, asking a simple question, it's just asking Jamie's opinion on why they lost the swing votes or the swing states and why they couldn't carry the popular vote like they did against Hillary. I've got my opinions. I said during the campaign, a month or two out before the election happened, that I said President Trump was going to take every single swing vote or swing state. I don't know why I keep saying swing vote. Maybe I'm thinking of the movie. But anyway, I'll take credit for that. I said it. I was right about it. I could have been wrong, but I'm glad I wasn't. But because I said I think he's going to take every swing state, but he did. But it's a valid question. I think that his campaign, they knew what they were doing. They campaigned, and people said during his campaign that why is he campaigning in New York? Why is he campaigning in California? Why are they doing it? Was for the popular vote. That's what it was for. They knew they weren't going to take the state, but they were trying to make a mandate, and they did. They took that popular vote, and I think a big reason because of the fact that they did, I think a big reason for that is the fact that they campaigned in places like New York and California, places they knew they weren't going to carry the entire state, get those electoral votes. They knew that wasn't going to happen, but they knew they could get more of the popular vote, and they did. And they carried the popular vote. And that's why the Democrats can't run on that this time. That because it was a big thing in his first term. Everybody remembers that. But anyway, let's see what the post-millennial said about this little interaction with the union workers. We'll take a look at this from the post-millennial. Breaking: Jack Posobiec confronts Representative Jamie Raskin in D.C. is assaulted by Democrat union workers. It's why? Again, it's a valid why. Why resort to violence? Because they don't have an answer for the guy. Anyway, excuse me. Human Events Daily host and senior editor Jack Posobiec confronted Representative Jamie Raskin during a Democrat union workers rally on Wednesday. Jamie, why did you lose the popular vote? We saw that part. We saw this video. So we're just going to scroll past it here. Raskin has been a vocal opponent of President Donald Trump and was the ranking member of the Select Committee on January 6th, which I believe should be investigated, and it hasn't happened yet, but I'm still waiting for it. Pam Bondi talking to you. I know you'll never see this video, but anyway, the violent incident, I think that's supposed to be incident, but anyway, follows earlier reporting on Raskin's efforts to recalibrate Democratic messaging and tone, apparently to no effect. In mid-January, during a retreat for Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee, Raskin invited psychologist Jim Cohen and consultant Hal Movius to speak to members, according to, where did I go? Punchbowl News. Now, Movius is known for his work in emotional regulation. Well, it didn't work on this one. This crowd sure didn't know how to regulate their emotions because they just went off on Jack. Hope the guy's okay. Didn't seem like he was seriously hurt. So, anyway. Let's see. Where was I? There I was. The purpose of the session was to guide Democrats on how to manage conflict and navigate what the speakers describe as authoritarian styles of speech. One attendee told the outlet that experts advised committee members to avoid getting drawn into heated partisan arguments. I think heated arguments are valid. I think they're a good thing. It's when these people let their emotions take over. It's like the people who are keying and vandalizing and damaging Teslas. They're emotionally unstable. They can't keep their emotions in check. These are grown people, grown adults who can't keep their emotions in check, and they resort to violence, graffiti, vandalism, what have you. It's grown adults who can't keep their emotions in check, which in my personal belief is, there's a lot of the older people that are doing it too, but a lot of it's the younger generation, and I think it's just that generation that grew up without being told no. This is the kind of society you groom when you don't tell your kids no. But anyway, I'm not going to ramble about that. But anyway, according to the source, the session focused on communication styles during the Trump era and encouraged more strategic approach to opposition. Okay, so they can't keep their emotions in check, even though they had a little seminar about it. Tell me what you think. Comment below. You tell me what you think about them just not, obviously, I think that they just can't keep their emotions in check. I've already covered it. So, but you tell me, what do you think? Why do you think that these people just resort to violence or vandalism, what have you? Tell me what you think. I genuinely want to know. Anyway, we'll go ahead and move on to Michigan. President Trump was in Michigan. He held a rally there, and he visited the Air Force National Air Guard base that's there. Now, Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, has been trying to talk to Trump about this specific issue for a little while, apparently pretty quickly after he was into the office. And there's a lot of talk on both sides about, Whitmer's rhetoric or her style, what she's doing, that kind of stuff. There's talk on the right about how Trump embarrassed her at this Air National Guard base. I don't think so. I don't. I think both sides are trying to play their angle on it. Let me tell you what I think. I think President Trump reaching across the aisle, and I give credit to Gretchen Whitmer. Now, everybody knows I'm not a fan of this woman, not in the least, but I give her credit for trying to talk to President Trump. She has reached across the aisle, tried to talk to President Trump about this issue. She does not. She wants to keep this National Guard base in what's the word I'm looking for? She wants to keep it open. Is the point I'm trying to get to. But I wanted to give her credit because she's actually, with all the stuff, all the hate from the left towards President Trump and people not talking to him or trying to do, work across the aisle and work with him on certain issues. I give Whitmer a lot of credit for doing this. I do. And I'm not a fan of her. But I give her credit for doing this. I think she has reached across the aisle and she got something done that she needed to get done for her state. I give her credit where it's due, even though I don't like her. And I don't think President Trump embarrassed her on the stage here. I think that that's just a right-wing talking point. And the left is running with it too, saying that he intentionally, put her on the spot when she wasn't ready and blah blah blah. I don't know. It's not the case. Not in my opinion. I think that he gives her credit for reaching across the aisle. He says she's done a good job, and he asks her to say a few words. I don't think it was a gotcha. I don't think it was her putting her on the spot, him putting her on the spot. I don't think any of that. I think it's him thanking her for reaching across the aisle and getting something done in her state that needed to be done. She's doing her job. That's what I think. Anyway, we'll take a look at this. This is the part of the little speech from President Trump. Just like I said, he's thanking Gretchen Whitmer and telling her that she's done a good job, and he thanks her for reaching across the aisle, what have you. But here, take a look at the video. Don't take my word for it. Right from President Trump's mouth here.
So I want to thank Governor Gretchen Whitmer for bringing it also to our attention very strongly. And, I'm not supposed to do that. She's a Democrat. They say, don't do that. Don't have her here. I said, no, she's going to be here. She's done a very good job.
She has. Again, give credit where credit's due. I don't like the woman. I don't. But at least she's doing her job. That's all she's doing. Like I said, the right wing and the left wing, they're running with the narrative that he called her out and made a fool of her. I don't think that's the case. I think he just thanked her and asked her to say a few words because it was her doing her job that got this done.
Frankly, and she was very much involved with the Republicans. They worked together on saving it, and it was not easy. So I want to thank you very much, Gretchen. Good
Can't
job.
imagine it
Thank
was.
you.
He said he thanked her right there at the end. So,
If you've got pink.
Anyway, we'll take a look at this. This is what Gretchen said, and we'll take a look at this. Again, I don't think he's calling her out. I don't think that this is a gotcha, what have you. But here, take a look at this. Wait, this is the wrong one. This is the wrong one. What am I doing here? Oh, yeah, here we go.
Well, I hadn't planned to speak, but I'm on behalf of all the military men and women who serve our country and serve so honorably on behalf of the state of Michigan. I am really damn happy we're here to celebrate this recapitalization at Selfridge. It's crucial for the Michigan economy. It's crucial for the men and women here, for our homeland security and our future. So thank you. I'm so grateful that this announcement was made today, and I appreciate all the work. Thank you.
Now, like I said, excuse me, I don't think this was a gotcha. This was her trying to, apparently the A-10s that are at this base are old and need to be replaced, what have you. And she's been reaching across the aisle trying to get things done, trying to get new aircraft. Now, President Trump said that, we're getting this done. They're going to get some new aircraft, possibly the F-16s and some F-35s. Okay, I'm happy to see it. This is what government should be doing. People reaching across the aisle to get issues done that they need done. If you want to shift this little, this is not a news story. As far as in the way that the media is trying to push it, it's not a gotcha. Again, it's just them doing their jobs, and it's an announcement about the base staying open and getting the aircraft that they need. That's what the story should be. But instead, it's the left and right attacking each other. Look, this is a win. This is a win for the federal government. Why can't the news media say it's a win? Instead, they've got to run on different narratives and not give Trump a win. They can't even look, Gretchen's base is not going to be happy about this just because of the fact that she worked with the Republicans and with President Trump. It's sad to see. But her base is going to be they're just going to be irate about this. Why? Because she reached across the aisle and got a job done. It doesn't make sense to me either. I know. But this is the political sphere that we live in today. But anyway, we'll go ahead and move to the, this is the New York Post about this story. The New York Post, who's supposed to be a legitimate news organization, okay? This is what when you hear me talk about the mainstream media and the lies and the crap and the narrative that they push, this is the crap that I'm talking about. Again, I will say, this is supposed to be a win for both sides. Republican, Democrat, Independent, whoever you are. This is the government doing their job, but they have to spin it. They have to run with their narrative. They can't give a win. Anyway, we'll go through this just a little bit. Until it's probably going to just make me mad, but we'll go through it a little bit. Trump embarrasses Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer again by calling her on stage at a 100 Days event. Well, I hadn't expected to speak. Okay, she probably didn't. But it wasn't a gotcha. It wasn't an embarrassing moment. It was Trump saying thank you to the governor for reaching across the aisle and doing her job. But I digress. President Trump put one over on Democrat Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer Tuesday, unexpectedly calling her up to speak at the first of two celebratory events to mark his first 100 days in office. Trump, 78. What? Who cares? Why did they put his age in there? I don't care. As long as the guy's, cognitive, I don't care how old he is anyway. Was addressing service members at Selfridge Air National Guard Base, northeast of Detroit, when he unexpectedly singled out Whitmer. He singled her out to thank her. Again, the narrative they have to push. They just can't help themselves. They have to keep going with the narrative. I want to thank, look, they've put it in there. I want to thank Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The president began. I'm not supposed to do that. She's a Democrat, they say. Don't do that. Don't have her here. I said, no, she's going to be there. She's done a very good job. She has. Again, I don't like the woman, but she's done a good job. She's doing her job. That's what is expected of a governor. For decades, they've been trying to save this facility, Trump also said, including your governor, who has done a very good job. She came to see me. That's the reason she came to see me. By the way, the save Selfridge. She was very effective. Good. The president then invited Whitmer, seen by many as a potential candidate for the 2028 Democratic nomination. She could be. I've said yesterday, there's going to be a lot of Democrats throwing their names into the hat for the presidential run. There's going to be a lot of people. That's why you see a lot of these Democrats that you never heard of before. That's why they're starting to get their little time in the limelight, because they're going to try and run. There's going to be a lot of Democrats running for the presidency. Let's see. To say a few words, leaving her visibly ill at ease. I don't think she was ill at ease. I don't think she was uncomfortable. She said, I wasn't expecting to say anything. Okay. She probably wasn't. She didn't look nervous. She didn't look put out. She just said that she's glad that the job got done. Well, I hadn't planned to speak, Whitmer began, but on behalf of all the military men and women who serve our country and serve so honorably on behalf of the state of Michigan, I am really damn happy we are here to celebrate this recapitalization. It was the second time in recent weeks that Whitmer had been caught in an uncomfortable position near the president. Like, everybody remembers the picture of her holding the binders up in front of her face so that the media wouldn't take a picture of her in the Oval Office with President Trump. We all remember that. But you know what? She was there to talk about this. She's been pushing this issue, and she wanted it to get done, and now it's done. And I'm happy that she got it done. She was doing her job. I know I sound like a broken record, but that's all she was doing. But they cannot let her or Trump get off. They can't do it. Trump's got to be painted as the bad guy. They have to do it. Anyway, earlier this month, the governor hid her face behind a stack of binders rather than show her face to the photographers in the Oval Office. where she was waiting for Trump to meet with her to discuss the future of the airbase. Whitmer was roundly mocked by members of her own party after a photo of her playing peekaboo was published by the New York Times and later admitted she regretted trying to duck the cameras. Whitmer did not attend a rally later Tuesday in Warren, roughly 20 miles north of Detroit. Whitmer, 53, who cares about their age, had been a contender for the vice president's shot alongside then candidate Joe Biden in 2020, but was passed over for then California Senator Kamala Harris. Again, Whitmer also reemerged as a presidential option in the wake of Biden abandoning his 2024 run, though Harris was ultimately given the party's standard before losing in a landslide to Trump on Election Day. Look, I don't think Whitmer would have beaten Trump either. I just don't. But that's besides the point. Michigan went for Trump by more than 80,000 votes last November and was one of the 3 critical blue wall states that flipped in the Republicans' favor in 24. The governor's office noted in a press release that more than 5,000 Air and Army National Guard members are installed at the Self-Ridge base, providing an $850 million boost to up to 30,000 jobs to Michigan's economy. I think that the base is a good thing. I think bases in general are a good thing. They provide jobs. There's places for the reservists, active duty members, what have you. I think bases are good for communities. I had one back where I'm from, back home, that provided a lot of jobs for the town. It's just being a former military person myself, being a veteran, I think bases are good for economies. And I'm glad that this base was saved. I am. Again, don't like Whitmer. But credit where credit is due. I think she did a good job reaching across the aisle. Her base is going to hate her for this. Why? Simply because she talked to President Trump. Doesn't matter that she saved jobs and she got, job security for people in the area and that she's got the air base to stay open. It doesn't matter. They won't say that. They will hate her simply because of the fact that she's been talking and working out a deal with President Trump. That's it. It doesn't matter that she saved jobs and what have you. It doesn't matter. It simply matters the fact she talked to President Trump. Oh my gosh. Why would you do such a thing? Because her base, the left, they cannot stand the guy. They won't give him a win. Anyway, Amazon, Temu, they're in the headlines. They're talking about Amazon. Now apparently they were going to put the like an added fee in the pricing of their items, mainly from from what I understand now. I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is not true. Apparently, from what I've read, up to 75% of products on Amazon come from China. If that is the case, does not surprise me that they're going to add an extra fee on top of whatever they're selling, because the tariff war with China is still raging. Okay, so of course they're going to have to up their prices a little bit. But you know what? Just buy it American. Buy it from somebody who's actually trying to work with us on tariffs and free and fair trade. There's that. Why do you have to buy products from China? I'm not going to lie to you. I've used Temu. I use Amazon. I won't lie to you about that. But why can't I? I mean, I can see that if now they've backtracked on this. President Trump apparently held a phone call, and now they've backtracked on this. Bezos said, we're not going to do it. We're not going to be putting the, information on there about the, additional costs due to tariffs, blah, blah, blah. Just buy American products. Or just buy a product that's not coming from China. There's always that. There's a lot of other countries out there, and there's made in America. I don't see what the big deal is. Anyway, we'll take a look at this, and you let me know. Tell me what you think about this trade war. Tell me what you think about made in America versus China. I think, honest opinion, like I said, I've used Temu. I've had products from China. I'm not going to lie to you. I've done it. I've bought cheap stuff. But why can't we buy American? Everything that you buy from China is going to fall apart within a week anyway. Anyway.
It was reported this morning that Amazon will soon display a little number next to the price of each product that shows how much the Trump tariffs are adding to the cost of each product. So isn't that a perfect crystal clear demonstration that it's the American consumer and not China who is going to have to pay for these policies?
Look, I will say just one more time. Okay. China's the only one that's not trying to play ball with us on this. Trump has put that 90-day pause on every single other country. Minus, he's got the base 10% on there as far as the tariff goes. China's the only one that's not willing to come to the negotiation table and talk about the tariffs. Why? You got me. But why not just get your products elsewhere? I don't understand why this is being blown out of this big, but anyway.
I will take this since I just got off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon. Why didn't Amazon do this when the Biden administration hiked inflation to the highest level in 40 years?
She makes a good point there. Okay, one, I don't know. I can't say it's politically motivated. I think, my personal opinion, I just think Amazon doesn't want to take the blame for the prices going up on products coming from China. So they put that on there. They say, hey, we're going to put this extra price on there, and we're going to let consumers know that this is due to the tariffs. It's not our fault. That's what I think. They don't want the blame for their prices being jacked up. Okay, so just don't buy the China products. That's all there is to it. Anyway, I don't think it was political. I just think it was them not wanting to take the blame. The second point that she made there, why didn't they do anything like this during, the inflation during the Biden regime? It's a valid question. It's a good point. But anyway.
And I would also add that it's not a surprise because, as Reuters recently wrote, Amazon has partnered with a Chinese propaganda arm. So this is another reason why Americans should buy American. It's another reason why we are onshoring critical supply chains here at home to shore up our own critical supply chain and boost our own manufacturing.
Okay, that's the whole point. The whole point of the tariffs is to boost American manufacturing. That's the whole point of the tariffs, to bring back American manufacturing back to the United States. That's the whole point of the tariffs. You can say what you want, but that's the point of them. If you want cheaper products, you can bring the manufacturing back to the United States. We're not going to use cheap slave labor from China anymore. That's it. That's all there is to it. I am sorry if you don't like it, but Timu's feeling the heat as well. A lot of people now take a look at this. This is interesting to me. Now, as I've said before, I have used Timu. It's been a long time since I've actually bought something off of that, though. It's a China company. All their products come from China. That's why, when you buy something from Timu, it takes at least 2 weeks to get to you. One of the reasons why I stopped using it, because I'm impatient. When I order something, I want it. That's why most of the time, I'll be honest with you, if I can get it in the store, I'm not ordering it. But I can tell you firsthand, people are addicted to online shopping. I see on a daily. I know people who are getting packages on the daily, whether it be Amazon, Temu, Shein, what have you. These people order every single day. For one, I don't know how they have the money for it. And for two, are you just that bored at work? What job do you have, for one, that you can afford that? And for two, what are you just sitting around on your phone just ordering crap all day? I don't understand it. But I'm telling you, I know people every single day. They get a couple of packages at minimum. Online shopping is an addiction. People, I can tell you firsthand knowledge. I know people who have it. But anyway, take a look at this. This is from the Temu website. Now, this guy, he ordered something, and then he just hit the buy now feature that they have on there, apparently. Like I said, I haven't been on there in a very, very long time, so I wouldn't know. But he hit the buy now feature. got the receipt. It was jacked up. He said he bought. I think it was the other one. Let me take a look at this. Yeah, I think it was the one before this. But we'll just go back to that one. Okay, this is it. So he bought something. It was $19. Maybe that's not the one. Yeah, this is it. Temu was marked down to $19. I went ahead and ordered it. After I hit the purchase now button, I got a receipt for $54. Couldn't figure out what I did wrong, so I went to my receipt, and look what happened. I was charged $31.44 for an import fee. The dress was only 19 bucks. That look, when you buy from China, you're gonna look cheap stuff. And I've heard the rumors about flammable shirts and everything else from Temu. I don't know why people would even buy from that shop. Honestly, the TikTok shop too. I know a lot of people that are addicted to that thing. Why? I'm not gonna lie to you. I ordered one thing off the old TikTok shop. I did. I got it. I'm happy with it. It's a cheese grater. I bought it. I like it. I'm not gonna buy another one. I won't buy anything else from the TikTok shop. I won't buy anything else from Temu. Especially now. Just buy from American companies. It's a good rule of thumb. Just anyway. Stop if you don't want your prices jacked up. I understand. People are in tough situations. They try to find the best deal. But you know what? The tariffs bringing manufacturing jobs back to the US, you're going to have more competition within the United States, and you'll have lower prices. That's the whole point of the tariffs. But anyway, before I ramble on about that, let's see, what else do I got here? I think that might be it. I said it was going to be a little bit shorter of a show. It is my birthday again. So, share the show with all your friends, everybody you know. Throw it out online. That's all I want for my birthday. Is for everybody to share this show. And for me to get a few more followers. That's all I ask. So, but that being said, I appreciate you being here. Really do. Means the world to me. I do this on the side. It's not full time. I do this just in the mornings before I actually go to work. But I appreciate you being here. You can follow me here on Rumble. Please do. I appreciate it. You can also follow me on X at The Political Ray. You can also follow me. I don't usually do it, but I'll shout out my Truth Social. Same thing. It's at Political Ray. So give me a shout out. Tell me what you think. Appreciate you being here again. And I will see you everyone tomorrow. But everybody take care. Have a great day. God bless. Take care of each other.